What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk to you guys about Hogwarts Legacy seemingly losing people's interest, losing people's desire maybe to play the game or not. But I want to talk about that because I think part of what I just said is actually true, and then part of what I just said is probably not true, but it's just something that I've noticed. It's also something I have seen kind of routinely, if we're being quite honest with each other, when I cover all sorts of other things, when I cover other games, other movies. You see this quite often. I just want to have a discussion about it. This isn't breaking news. This isn't something that I've just discovered out of thin air. It's just something that I've kind of noticed that's been going on, and it does go into, I would say, Hogwarts Legacy's like marketing strategy, what they feel comfortable showing, when they feel comfortable showing it, and all that stuff. Okay, I do have other videos planned. I've seen some of you guys bring up some pretty interesting topics in the comments. I've had a video I wanted to do on Hogwarts Legacy for a very, very long time that I think I'm finally going to do probably sometime in July, talking about gaming journalists in Hogwarts Legacy. We've touched upon it before, but I have a really fun and I guess more offensive video, like we're going on the offense, coming very soon. Okay, if you guys do like this stuff, make sure, as always, you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, leave a like. Definitely helps these videos out, would help spread it out as well. And as always, if you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, Podcast Now 15 is my Twitter handle. Okay, I make these videos every 5 or so days. We're working on some collaborations, working on some behind the scenes stuff, so we're obviously going to have a lot of fun in the future, and that's kind of the thing, right? It's all in the future, none of it's in the present. With them being kind of absent from all this stuff, and I know other people have talked about that as well. Okay, so something I've obviously noticed, and one thing is views for sure, and that's more of like a YouTube, that's like me as a YouTuber, like of course I can obviously like isolate that, but also just it seems like general, I'd say almost engagement in Hogwarts Legacy. There's a sense of defeat. That's kind of the biggest thing. There feels like in the community a sense from who's left. And I do want to make it clear, by the way, I don't think the people that have left like for good. I'm also not necessarily equating people that have like stopped watching. I'm not making like excuses, or I'm not saying like, oh, please come back to my Hogwarts Legacy videos. I don't care about that. I'm not even talking about like my channel in all of this. I'm looking at the people that seemingly are off the bandwagon for Hogwarts Legacy, like in general, the hype train, which again arguably has nothing left in it. But the thing I've noticed continuously that this has happened in the past is, and what's kind of aggravating, and it's not people's fault, is that, people get interested in this stuff, they leave, which corresponds, normally corresponding with the developer, the company, whatever, not showing anything. So a game will be announced, a movie will get announced, whatever, and there'll be a massive influx of all these people talking about it. Then everybody goes away because nobody's talking about it, right? The company themselves, right? Avalanche or WB Games or Hogwarts Legacy just in general, nothing's really happening. People leave, and people will complain, why aren't they giving us stuff? And then when they do give people stuff, then everybody comes back. So so again, I'm really... It's not a video where I'm pointing fingers or I'm blaming one side or the other. It's just kind of an interesting observation that happens almost every time that I just thought would be interesting to discuss. And I've noticed it. I want to know, obviously in the comments, if you guys have noticed it too. It's maybe aggravating only in the way that, like, to me it feels sometimes, maybe not even in this specific game's example, but it feels like it's sometimes like developers, like they know this, which is why they can kind of get away with it. You know what I mean? There's people that, routinely on Twitter and or YouTube live streams or YouTube videos just in general, like for me, I can only, I've seen other things too, but, specifically for me, they'll ask me all the time, Hogwarts Legacy news, like when, where, how, like all, the who, what, when, where, like all that stuff, right? Whenever there's a major event, there'll be people asking if it's going to be there, and then there'll be people disappointed when it's not there. But I think that's a small group relative to the amount of people that are actually, like, into it. I'm not saying those people don't matter, because they absolutely do, but, like, relative to everybody else. And same thing for the comments, right? Like, in the last video I made, I was looking in the comments, there's a lot of broken spirits saying, like, I'm really disappointed they haven't shown the game, or I'm getting tired of this and stuff like that. I mean, I've seen, really, the last big recent example to me would be like Gotham Knights or WB Montreal or that kind of stuff, right? When we thought it was a Batman game, when they were teasing it, then they went dark for like 6 months, everybody got very, very upset and everybody left. And it's just, again, that's I guess where it brings up the aggravation, where it's like, it kind of just sucks. And I'm not expecting people to talk about this and people to engage when there's literally nothing to talk about. I get why people don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that, but I also, I guess, understand the developer, where, I mean, they can make the excuse where it's like, well, nobody cares, only a small fragment of people cares, and we're just not, we're gonna leave you out hanging, right? And I guess that only, again, it only looks bad on them if they do have something to show and they're just unwilling to. If they're not ready to, as I've said many times, right? If they're not ready to talk about things, if they're not ready to show things, stuff like that, then, I mean, they're just not going to do it. And there's really, we can get mad. I think people have every right. If you're disappointed or you really want this game and it's been forever since you've seen it, you can voice your opinion and say, hey, I'm disappointed that we haven't seen more. But really, going beyond that, you can't really do anything else, right? I guess making demands is a tough one, right? Because you don't want to get into the threatening territory or, stuff like that. You don't want to cross any lines. We always talk about crossing lines and that you don't do that. But it's just interesting. And I sympathize with people. I see your comments. I understand that this is a low point in a way and isn't that weird? It always again, that's kind of the key word of today, right? Or the key word of this video is the word always. It always happens where, especially for this example, again, we were one of the few people to talk, or one of the few channels or whatever, to talk about this game before it was even announced. And there were others, but, there were so many people saying that it was fake or that it wasn't real or just having no confidence in it. We were there. And you could argue that should have been the lowest point. And I think it was, because every time I think, it's been X amount of months since, really, we're approaching a year. Like this upcoming September, it'll be 1 year since they showed that trailer, and they've shown, they've shown like a couple pictures on Twitter, but those pictures were taken from that trailer. So they've shown one thing in all, and that was the trailer, and that's it. And we're approaching 1 year of that. So I get the restlessness, but at the same time, people do act like this is the worst time to be alive for the fandom of a certain property, right? I would argue no, because we know the game is real. It's just it's the sad thing about game development, and I guess it more or less goes into the discussion of, when do you announce games? Are we in the boat? And I've been on both sides of it, right? Sometimes I'm completely okay with a game being announced years before it comes out. It really, to me, it's very subjective. It depends on the kind of game. Like, I know specific Sony games, when they get announced, right, they may be 3-4 years away. Or maybe 4 is a little pushing it, but at least 2 or 3 years away. When they first showed The Last of Us Part 2, that was at least, I think it was 4 years, but let's say 3 years before the game released. But it's just one of those games where you and remember back then, we had no idea what was going on, all that stuff. It was amazing. And whether or not you agree, I guess depends on where you think the final game was. But even if you thought it was bad, I think a lot of people were excited, right? But you kind of know, okay, they're going to go dark for a long time. They're going to go dark for a year. They're going to go dark for 6 months. And then they'll come back, and then they're going to go dark again. You kind of just expect that. Other studios, they don't do that. In fact, WB Games doesn't do that, but they obviously changed their tone for Gotham Knights, for Hogwarts Legacy. Although, again, I would say when they got announced, when they were supposed to come out, was obviously a lot shorter than what it is now. When they announced Hogwarts Legacy, I assume they thought they could get the game out in 12 to 14 months. When they announced Gotham Knights, I think they expected the game that maybe at some point it could have been that fall, but more or less, or more realistically, I guess, they probably thought they could get out within 6-7 months of when they announced it. That's a good amount of time. I think that's a really nice sweet spot, because you do have a couple months in there where it's probably dark, and then I'd say 2, 3, 4 months before the game comes out, it's all hands on deck. You're showing it. You're talking about it. There's gameplay trailers, or there's gameplay presentations. There's trailers. There's interviews. All of this stuff. So there's not that much of a darkness, from when you announce it to when it releases. The way it happens now is, okay, well, now we're probably gonna have to wait 2 full years from when they announced it. That is a little that's a little foreign to WB Games. You know what I mean? I don't think they're handling it well, by the way, because I really do think there are things you can do. Looking at it right now, yeah, I get the game is probably still a year and 2 months, year, 3 months, year, 4 months away. I get that. But I do think they could show more. And again, there's a place and time for it. But I understand people jumping off of it. It's just odd. So again, I'm saying it's completely okay for you to jump off. You have to make the decision based off yourself. I know a lot of people don't want to participate in these things when there really is nothing too substantial to talk about, and then they come back when. And again, I'm not saying it for my channel. I'm not pleading with you guys to stay. Obviously, I want you to stay, and I do think we have pretty good discussions on Hogwarts Legacy that very few, if nobody else, if not nobody else has. At the same time, though, I'm not really talking about that. I do think, obviously, they'll come back, and when they come back, if you're feeling down, this is a message to you guys, if you're feeling down, if you're feeling like there's just not a lot of excitement or like fan enthusiasm, maybe besides yourself, on this game, I think that's kind of true. I think that's kind of real, right? But just know it's going to come back. And when it comes back, and as we get really close, oh my God, it's going to be incredible. And again, remember, this is going to attract more people than just, I guess, like normal gamers, right? Whatever you consider normal, right? It's going to be bigger than that because you're going to have a lot of people that have watched the movies or read the books. They're just into the fandom that don't play games. They do not play games, but they will play this game. And I wonder how that's going to impact the game as a whole. I wonder if they've thought about that, stuff like that, but it's going to be really, really fun, okay? So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think, hype is dying? Do you think that's okay? Are you still excited? All that kind of stuff. Let me know. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. Again, leave a like would definitely help spread this video more than it would if you didn't. And if you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, podcastnow15 is my Twitter handle. Links in the description. More topics planned. If you guys want me to talk about something specific, definitely let me know in the comments and I will shout you out in a video. But I got some ideas of my own that we're going to do over the next little while. Again, collaborations, interviews, all that kind of stuff hopefully is coming very, very soon, all right? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all there.